How many grown adults did it take to turn on a coffee machine?
More than we've got.
Right, so welcome to the first new style episode of Coffee with a Caveman. We've gone for latte because none of us can figure out how to use that machine. But to all the people that are going to watch, either in the next 48 hours when it goes up, or in the coming years, please meet the unified and undisputed King of Scotland, Louis Jacks. So the basic premise of all this now is, like we did for those people that managed to watch through lockdown, Coffee with a Caveman, was me just having a conversation. I'm going to continue that on because a lot of the times I don't get to catch up with a lot of the athletes that become mates and just good acquaintances across the board, whereas the conversations get left behind. So what we decided to do and taking it all forward is, rather than just have a catch up, put a camera in the room, sit it right down, have a coffee, and have an natter. And this is it. So this year for you specifically, whilst we're just going to jump in on Strongman, has been pretty fucking good.
I've had a great year this year.
Yeah.
It's been coming for a couple of years. It's been building up. The potential's been there, and I've seen the sort of results creeping up and getting better year on year. But this year it's all just clicked, and I think that's got to come down to Dale being my coach. Took him on last year around July, August time, and then so it's just over a year now. And since then, everything's just got better. All the little points that I didn't train have been trained, and it's just made me an all-round complete strongman. I'm a lot fitter, and I'm a lot stronger as a result.
I was going to say, what were the contributing factors? What was the dialogue that's used? Because we pretty much understand what these things are for a lot of strongmen.
Yeah, so there was pretty much a running joke, which wasn't a joke, that I didn't train legs as a strongman. Yeah. And everyone took it as a bit of tongue in cheek. Well, yeah, it doesn't look like the, well, I still does squats. I didn't train legs. I did not train legs for 2-3 years when I was at the gym. I was just a gym bro. I trained at a pure gym for most of my starting strongman life. I did chest, I did arms, I did a bit of shoulders, and I rocked up to a few competitions. I did pretty well. Yeah. And I managed to get to UKs, and I did what I did, and I was just plodding along, and I was just thinking, well, it's working. I don't need to train legs. And in my head, I joked with a few people, and I was like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to win a title, Scotland's or UK's. I'm going to write a book on how to be a strongman without training legs, because it's clearly worked. You don't need them.
Yeah.
But it turns out if you do train your legs, you get stronger.
Makes life a little easier as well.
It makes you an all-round better strongman. Yeah. It's the missing piece of the puzzle. It was for me. Yeah. So it's not complete yet, not by a long way, but it's been a big contributing factor. I mean, other things like that, things like rear delts, working your core, training these things that you just don't do. You always do the front and side because that's the bits you can see. You don't do the back, the bits you can't see, the bits you can't really feel. Yeah. You don't bother training them.
Because you can't visually see it, so you don't appreciate it.
It's also why I don't train legs. I can't seem to get a pump in my legs, so I don't enjoy training them. You enjoy doing your chest, you got a chest pump, and you're going, oh, this is great. Nothing in my legs, I didn't enjoy it. It's the same rear delts, can't really feel them. You're just doing face pulls for the sake of doing them. But you do them enough, you start to build the muscles, and you can feel the sort of stability in your log presses and things. It's huge. So, train your legs with all.
Yeah, well, hunt weakness.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? It's hunt weakness. So, comparatively, in terms of just coming through, you come from a different sport, but I was football, I had big legs. I played as a fastball, I had big legs. Yeah. So it wasn't a surprise really when you've got whatever it is of farmers, and you've got a yoke and you get under it, and it's like, okay, I can move. Yeah. This is what Mitchell Hooper said recently as well about actual mobility in the feet, strong feet. Yeah. And I think that does play a massive part. And I didn't do it either until you get to a weight of where
you need it.
Yeah. And then you suddenly realise, oh shit, I've got a lot of work to do. Yeah. And the philosophy changes then.
I had a similar conversation with Mitch last week at the Arnold's, and he was obviously we just getting to know each other first time we met, and he goes, so what's your athletic background? And I'm like, I played a bit of five-a-side, did a bit of football in school. I don't have an athletic background. So in that sense, I'm lacking 10, 15 years behind all these guys. He was a very good level golfer, marathon runner, American football. He's done all these sort of things.
Mitch is a standout.
He is. You see a lot of the strongmen do come from powerlifting, or they come from a rugby background, or they tend to have some sort of sport background. but they've come through at some sort of decent level,
Yeah.
and then come into Strongman. I've just come out of pure gym.
Yeah.
I thought, hey, I look alright, I'm a bit strong, let's give it a go.
And that's about 4 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, I joined the gym in 2017.
Yeah.
I started Strongman 2018.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago I started Strongman.
And what did you do up to that
Nothing.
point? No hobbies?
Cars.
Ah, that's fine.
I'm obsessive. I figured out through doing all this is like, some people say I've got a few autistic tendencies. I don't like to label myself as anything, but
We all have somewhere.
I'm not the best at speaking. I'm not the best in front of cameras. I'm very shy and I don't really come out in myself until I'm very comfortable with somebody.
Yeah.
So, and also with the obsessive nature of what I was into, it's like I'm into like forest rallying. So I will know every single driver on the Scottish circuit.
Yeah.
I know the dog's name.
Yeah.
I'm super obsessed with that, and that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Nothing else. No, nothing else. So when Strongman came about, everything went to Strongman. My love for cars almost disappeared a bit because it all just became focused on Strongman. And for now, it is still Strongman obsessed. I just want to be the best Strongman I can be.
Well, you're slowly getting there, and say you've got a hell of an accolade at the moment, which leads to obviously why we're in Glasgow.
Yeah.
What takes place tomorrow? No, not tomorrow. I think it's Saturday.
Yes.
I keep thinking it's Friday with me a day away. But before we get into that, you've trickled onto something that is close to my heart as well.
Yep.
Cars.
Cars, yeah.
Right, first car.
My first car was a Renault Clio with the biggest sort of cherry bomb exhaust, a Playboy number plate, massive subwoofer in the back. It was loud, it was slow, it looked like shit, but it was my pride and joy, it was everything to me.
Yeah, because we come from an era really where you get a bag of shit and you would mod it.
Yes.
Whereas the modern cars now, they come with accessories, they're already on.
Yeah.
But we did that.
They're out the box, they're what you want now.
Yeah.
And back then it was just a Clio and I just wanted to spend every penny I earned.
1.2?
Yes, 1.2,
Yeah, that's a
16
fucking terrible car.
And I wrote it off 2 weeks after my test.
Really?
Stuck it in the field. It rolled over 3 times. I was popping down for a local paper, the Scotland.
Yeah.
I stuck it in a field, phoned my dad, I says,
I've lost
trouble here,
I've lost the car and any talent like that.
didn't get the paper, so he came down, we rolled the car back onto the road, dragged it back up the road, and then went back for the paper so I could go and buy another car the same day. So I went and bought a Corsa the same day.
Was that going through like the classifieds?
Yeah. So I went and bought a Vauxhall Corsa.
See, people won't understand the joy of that. Do you remember when the water trailer used to come out on a Thursday?
Yeah.
And you used to be there first thing, all the trailers would be there, you tried to get in early
Yeah.
and go straight through these classifieds to find the car that you could afford.
So for me it was like, obviously I had my car at that point, so I was going to look for motorbikes and things.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm going to buy a motorbike, but I ended up having to buy a new car. So.
With the way that you handled your first car, it's probably a good job you had a car rather than a motorbike.
The next one got less respect. It was just stuck it through forest, it was handed turns, it was everything. It's in the blood, isn't it? It's what you do.
Yeah.
You've either got that in you or you don't. And
so did you try to sort of go down the motorsport route at one particular point, or did you?
I did go karting when I was younger.
Yep.
And then I moved into sort of motocross and.
Yeah, because that we've spoken about before.
Yeah.
Because there's a two-stroke sort of, when 2 strokes in your blood,
yes,
it's in your blood.
That's what I mean, it's there, you just love the smell of it.
Yeah.
You hear people going, oh, the smell of petrol, I love that smell.
Yeah.
It gets me going.
Yeah.
So, I just...
See, this is why I talk about sort of transferable skills.
Yeah.
Because I was a really, really skinny lad.
Yeah.
But there's photos from back in the day, and it's just like, I've actually got lats.
Yep.
Tiny, like, skeleton chicken body, but lats.
Yeah.
And people said, with tiny hands, you got grip.
Yep.
Hang on, because you know it's like free race meat. Hang on to a 250 cc.
Forearm pump.
Yeah, exactly. So you learn to hold on.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that sort of you come into like Hercules hold or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I'm not one for this whole pinch grip stuff. That doesn't. But if it's a bar or if it's like holding on to an implement, it's not so bad. Motocross.
Yeah. And that ended up stopping when I kept eating sand. I was quite good. I enjoyed jumping motorbikes. It was good, but the track we had was dug at a beach, and it was soft as anything. So you jump and you're about 20-30 feet in the air. You land and it's soft, and you just
especially if the front end's gone.
You just eat sand.
Yeah.
So it hurt. I hurt my ribs. I hurt my legs. I did my finger in and ate sand. I said to my dad, I said, "Do you know what? I'm fucking done with this. Bike for sale done. I'm moving away to Aberdeen as well." So it all tied in and.
And is that where you're from originally, Aberdeen?
No, originally I'm from Dornoch, up in the Highlands.
Okay.
Lived there until I was 24. I went to uni up in Inverness as well, and then moved away to Aberdeen to follow my profession, to be a constant.
Yeah.
There just wasn't the opportunities up where I lived, so the nearest city to me after Inverness, like the nearest sort of big city is Aberdeen, so I moved down to Aberdeen when I was 24, spent, was it 4 or 5 years there?
Yeah.
That's where I actually found Strongman in the gym, because I moved out, I went out drinking, did my job, and spent a few years just sort of dossing about and just living life, I guess, and then found the gym, realised I was getting strong, and I went bigger. That's all I wanted to do at first. I kind of went in, wanted to be a bodybuilder, then realised there was the passion for actually being on stage wasn't there.
Yeah.
The end result just wasn't.
Did you buy the sparkly pants?
No, I didn't even get close to that being on stage. I just wanted to get bigger, and then I found Strongman. There was Dundee's Strongest Man, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a shot, I'll enter it. And I turned up in a pair of joggers and a t-shirt. I had no equipment, nothing, no Strongman equipment. Everyone else there had
all the gear.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like novice guys and guys that had been around the sort of weight class scene and all the rest of it. So I rocked up, and the first event was 100 kilo log for reps. I got 0. Cleaned it. I never touched a log in my life. Never seen any Strongman kit. So I cleaned it. I just couldn't press it for life. And I was like, what the fuck is this? It's not happening. So I was like, I'm never doing Strongman again. I'm going to run away. But I stuck with it. And deadlift was the next event. I pulled 300. No straps, no chalk, no belt, no nothing. Yeah. And then Tom was there. Tom Strongman. Paul Benton was refereeing it, and he says, that's fucking strong.
Yeah.
That's strong. To just rock up with no kit and just pull 300.
Yeah, that's.
And I was like, is it? Like, I have no idea, because I'm just me. I'm just here to do what I do. Just keep putting weights on the bar and I'll keep pulling it.
See, I think this is something that we've spoken about before, and a number of people have recently. Is that whole being on the periphery of the sport and coming in blind is no bad thing.
No.
Because you don't have any markers.
Yeah.
You don't have any sort of set agenda to what is strong.
Yeah.
You go in and do your best.
Yes.
And that's the beauty. I think if you could have gone into that competition with 250 kilos on the bar and been told that that's a ridiculous amount of weight, and it would have felt heavy.
And your mind would have stopped.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of it, is that you come in with a certain freedom and you just found that sort of way forward.
Yeah.
And they're not a bad bunch of lads to sort of walk into the same. Tom, obviously, with what he's done at the moment.
Yep.
And again, a brilliant mind for the mentality for what he's done. Just there it is, pick it up.
Yeah.
And then you got a shouty angry man, which he definitely divided the room. But there was the way that Paul sort of went about it, guns blazing. It's certainly enough to. I think being around someone like Paul early doors as well is enough to encourage people in, because it's like always quite intoxicating.
Yeah.
Because he certainly livened the place up.
He was for me. It was a huge advantage. Because he was refereeing it. Tom was there as a special guest. So when he was refereeing, he was coaching me at the same time. He knew I had no experience, so we came to a tyre flipper, a yoke. My yoke was horrific. It's not much better now. We're getting there, but it's like a drunk person walking home. But he was really giving me good advice, and that whole comp, he was shouting at me. He's always in your ear anyway. But that's how he was. And after that, I went to start training with Paul, and it was Paul that sort of prepped me for my first Scottish Strongest Man qualifier, which was invaluable. The experience he had was great. So that got me into my first qualifier, and then I trained with Paul until I moved away. Work pulled me down to Glasgow after that, and then we just kind of drifted apart from that point. But Paul was invaluable at the start. He was really good. Yeah,
Paul doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think mainly because of the controversy that sometimes follows Paul.
Yeah.
But actually, his genuine care and attention for others is definitely there. I still remember him probably my first year. I'm in a squat rack and I just don't have the rails in.
Yeah.
And he's not being a dick. He's just said, "Dude, that's getting close to your pinnacle weight. Please put the rails in." Yeah, exactly. Because it's about so many people just glaze over it.
Yeah.
And sometimes to actually say something is, I'm probably going to get shot down.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say it anyway, because it boils down to the fact that he actually gives a shit.
Yeah.
And he's done it for a number of people. I know that he's obviously his own side of things. He's fallen away from the sport on that front, but his help for others has remained, because there's a number of people that are still involved in the sport because of it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people base their opinions without really knowing him.
Yeah.
So they base it on the bad boy persona that he put on.
Yeah.
And when he switches on, I mean, he was an intense competitor, Paul. He was very, very in that moment. So he probably did come across a little bit of a dick when he competes. But when you catch him on his own, loveliest guy ever. He was bang on.
Yeah.
He really was.
And he didn't get the credit he deserved for what is a very, very hard competition to win,
Very hard.
which had very good athletes in, because that's the year as well that Graham Hicks was in that competition, who was strong as a motherfucker at the time, and he still won. I know everyone can say, oh, this happened, that. That's competition. That's competition.
Yeah.
You still have to be there and win it, and he did, and he won it fair and square.
Yeah, you've got to get to the end.
Yeah, it's a shame, because I say, he did, I don't think Paul genuinely got the credit, because wasn't he the first Scotsman to win that title as well?
Yeah, to win UK's, yeah. He was the first.
And everyone sort of just glossed over it.
Still the only one.
Yeah.
Nobody's done it since, so.
Yeah, because pre that was Parr, wasn't it?
Parr won it the year before,
Yeah.
I think Laws won it maybe a year before that.
And then after, who won it after? Who won it a year after?
Would it be Gav? Was that the
Yeah,
Gav?
and then Gav won it.
2 years.
Yeah.
And Polish.
And Paul's this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say it's a tough competition to win. It's fair to say, probably the last 2 years, the depth is certainly gone from it. You don't have the kind of that tier. I think that having that benchmark of having those guys that have either been around, because you had the trinity of people like Fee, Terry, and Loz, and then with Parr going into being like, I think at the time sort of 3 times Ireland's strongest man, and he's definitely on the way up. The depths of the English lads as well. Your Chrissy Morgans, very, very good at certain events as well, that kind of threw the rest of the competition out of kilter, because you'd always find that, okay, that person might not be in the running for a title, but they're gonna conquer points. Exactly. So once you moved to here, that's hostile, wasn't it?
That's when I went hostile. So what happened was Anna, my partner, she moved through to Glasgow first for her work, and I stayed in Aberdeen for probably 6 to 8 months, maybe a year, I don't know. The time sort of passes, but I used to travel through every other week probably, just to see her. So when I was through, I would jump in a hostel, and that's how I started in hostel. And then once I actually moved through, I was in hostel full time, and that's been home since. And that made a huge difference as well, having a place dedicated specifically to strongman. It does other things as well, but it's strongman, and the core of it is strongman, and having that people around you as well, whether they're novice level or up at the level I'm at now, you always had people pushing. You go on a Saturday and everyone was trying to bet themselves, and it's a great place to gym.
I'm looking forward to going now. I'm going to be headed there in the next couple of days. One for a bit of footage, 2 to catch up again with mine. Because I know him from the voice on the mic. I know him from a bit of time, and it's strange from afar, but it's not until you're in someone's company and you get certain people which it's in their blood. And you can genuinely see, because obviously he's there at Scotland's this year, he's on the mic, but you can see he is buzzing for the boys. And then people like that, as you say, are invaluable. That's what makes a facility. So I can understand why, and it is no surprise, the likes of Cam Crozier, Scotty, yourself, and a plethora of other guys, Dean V, that have all trained there, come out all guns blazing.
That's I think recently he actually took a step back and had a look at all the people that have been in that gym and what they've achieved, and the achievement list in that gym is phenomenal. On the women's side, the weight class side, and on the open side, there's world records all over the place, there's titles all over the place. It's a really high achieving gym. There's been a lot of good athletes come out there, and it will produce more good athletes. Just training with them now, you can see the future coming up. There's some really, really good guys. It
is nice to actually be able to take a step back and see what you have as a facility, and because so many people don't. This is where I train. There's a culture that's involved with this sort of niche sport, where you do get places, you do get facilities. It just wobbles a bit, doesn't it? I know I've heard it a couple of times as well, and I just thought, what if I just put that on it? But no, that's where the culture comes in from someone's passion. So they may not have the talent levels themselves, but it's ingrained in their vision of what they want from people. And they say, having spent just an afternoon with him, I can understand why. Because even let's say my hands are torn to ribbons, I'm still going to go and train. Because I feel the facility and kind of even if there's blood, it deserves a bit of blood. That's just how it is.
Taking plenty.
I was going to say, I've watched Dean enough times, clatter himself with logs and throw shit around. So when you when you're going in there to train now, what is changed for you? Because it's all right, all well and good having a directive from a coach. It's all, but what's changed in you? Because it is a very short space of time, 4 years.
Yes.
And now, the amount of competitions that took place this year.
Yeah.
You've been in and around, and let's just call it what it is for the first couple of years. Like a lot of people, you're a journeyman in the sense of you're there to have a go, but there's favourites. What's changed in you that has made you look like you're there to take titles now? Because your attitude is very, very different as well.
Yeah, I think obviously having the structure in my training thing helps, but as far as the go in and get it done attitude, that's never changed. That was, I do look back from my phone, I try and look at my training back then, and it was always flat out. It was always trying to be the best. I've always wanted to be number one in anything that I do. I've always wanted to win. I hate losing. I'm a very, very competitive person. And to the point where it turns out on the day, I do hope people will fall over. I hear a lot of people saying, I want to be beat by the best version of someone. I'm saying, I hope someone falls over. I hope they get thingy by you, because I work too hard to lose. So if it means someone has to make a mistake for me to win, I'll take it. I don't care, I will take it. Because losing is just, it's not easy to take. And obviously at the level where I'm at now, I'm having to start accepting it. I've gone into a bigger pond and I'm a smaller fish in that pond now. Which was quite hard to take mentally, because you go through like Scotland and you're always expected to be like, podium contender, you're going to win it. You go to UK, you expect to make the final, you expect to hit for the podium. Now I'm not expected to do anything. I'm just expected to turn up and just make up the numbers a little bit and give it my best shot. Which is not easy to take, because I want to win. I just see, we've got like White Pavlo, he's massive. We've got Mitch Hooper, he's a freak. We've got all these top guys, Novikov and the Stockmans, but they're just men. Like, the Stockmans are just two lads that grew up 20 minutes down the road from me. They weren't always like this. They've not been, they've got genetic. Tom's 6'8" or whatever, he's wide as anything. But they're just men. They still breathe what I breathe, they bleed like I bleed. They're just men, they're humans. And why can't I do what they do? There's no reason why I can't do what they can do. There's no reason. It's just hard work for a certain amount of time, and maybe it's not there. I think there is a limiting factor in everyone's ability. I don't see that for me. I don't see a limiting factor. I've never seen a lift that I don't think I can achieve in the future if I keep going on. I've not got to a point where I've plateaued, where I've thought, this is getting towards the end of it for me. It just keeps setting small goals and they just keep coming. And I don't see an end point. I see world's strongest man in my future. I don't see winning yet, but I see getting there. And once I'm there, then I'll open up the doors and I'll go, right, I can make the final. Then I can make a podium and then I can win it. I don't see an end of it. It's not like Scotland's that's enough, UK's that's enough. I see a good future. I don't see a limiting factor for me. I don't.
It's nice to hear. It's a different approach as well, because I'm going to tackle something that I found slightly controversial. And it divided me morally, because I have been a sportsman over a number of years. I'm also a fiercely competitive bastard. And it was just down to sharing a kit. It's the first time I've seen it at that level where you were reluctant to share a kit because it might mean that the other person beat you. Now, at the time, I know how I felt, because I've always been of the ilk that it's like, because I've had it done to me. I've had someone withdraw kit, and and I did struggle. It's on me, all that sort of stuff. I get that, but I've always felt that if everyone has everything, I beat them fair and square, and I know that. But I actually left that day thinking about it, and I thought about the reliance on others. I thought about the self, the professionalism that should be aligned to what I do. And do you know what? A little bit of me sided with you, and it's not because you sat here, because at the time I was, even though I was trying to be diplomatic, I'm pretty sure my fucking eyes said, you're a cunt.
But I'll take that.
Because I do understand. And I understand a little bit more so now, because the camaraderie factor of this what is portrayed and actually what it takes to win, I don't always think it's the most genuine.
No.
So to actually see someone at that moment be honest, I was cool with that because I felt more comfortable with that decision afterwards for the honesty of it than someone that portrayed of how to be.
It's a bit of a gripe I've got with this sport in general, and it's probably an unpopular decision, but everyone thinks this sport is so nicey nice. Everyone supports each other. They do, for the most part, they do. We do cheer each other on, we do. But see, when it comes down to that moment, and that moment that I was in, where it was, do I give this person who's sitting half a point behind me the piece of equipment that they need to potentially beat me and take away the years of work that I've done? I'm not doing it. I'm not giving it up. I'm not. I'm too competitive. I need to win. And it was a serious need and a want to win that competition where I would do anything. Like, I wouldn't cheat. I wouldn't cover him in baby oil.
Yeah.
But he's asking for something that he's not prepared and he's not brung it. And if he's not prepared and he's not brung it, he doesn't want it as bad as I do.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't short of anything that day. I had everything I needed to win that competition. And I wasn't going to give it to anyone.
Yeah. I'd say it left me, when I, with a fairly decent drive home, time to think.
Yeah.
And there's certain aspects of what you could put forward which I think we haven't taken into account. We all seem to put the onus on the person that's not willing to give, where actually knows what they're willing to sacrifice for the fact that someone else hasn't done their end.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about a level of professionalism and so on and so forth, it just changed how I viewed it. Now I know what I would still do, because that's inherent in me. But that's because that's my honest approach to it. But to actually see someone at the time do what would be considered outside uncomfortable or against the grain.
Bad thing. It is. It's
Well,
a bad thing.
is that just because it's not done by the majority, or do people still do something because they feel they should rather than because they want to? Because that's the bit where I actually tip my hat, is because it was a case of you did what you felt was right for you.
Yeah.
Because the same as what I've said, when we're talking about competition and learning to win.
Yeah.
If there's food on the table, I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. If you're in that position, and this is where I think it sets you up for a very good future, because you have that definitive mind.
Yeah. People look at the sport and they always go on about how we cheer each other on. If you watch it closer, you only ever see someone cheering someone on that's already beaten.
Yeah. You
finish a yoke and you go and cheer the guy on that's struggling. That's not the same as cheering on someone to beat you.
Yeah.
You'll never cheer someone on to beat you. You're not going to do it.
No. One of the most controversial points was Mariusz Pudzianowski when Derek Palestine mishandled the stone, and he's
slapped him on the back.
Who slapped him on the back? He's genuinely not trying to be a dick.
No,
it's just elation. It is, yeah. And I think there's a number of people, myself included, when I've come into this, as an observer as well as like a low-level participant, that it suddenly becomes something other than a sport. It's a little club, and you forget what actually competition is. But when you actually boil it down to what it is, and this is like, time away and spending time with other people that have transitioned in, as I say, the advent of a new generation that are coming through with their eyes wide open.
Yeah.
People that have played other sports, and you just that's the mentality to come in, and therefore this makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Because whilst we still fall under the category of entertainment, as everything now pushes towards being more professional, that also means people have to be more professional. And actually what you've done, the way that you've handled it, and what you've spoken about in terms of this incremental process to be better, and that want and desire to say, right, okay, I filled this pond, I'm going to get into that one, be small and grow into it.
Yeah.
That's professionalism.
Yeah.
That's no different to a non-league footballer getting his Ryman contract and then going from Ryman to a league, a decent league club, aiming to be in a professional status as a Premier League player, getting a European berth, going to a World Cup. That's the mentality, that's the professionalism. Not sat there, going, oh God, go on Dave, I'll pass to you, you score. I know what I did in training. I snap people in half because you're my teammate, but you're in my position. I want that place.
But when it's all said and done, as soon as that stone run was over on that day, shake hands, done.
Yeah.
We're friends. We're away the next week, we're all good.
But that's sportsmanship.
Yeah.
That's
so
sportsmanship.
when people might look at it from the outside and see that's from a bad place.
Let's see if we can answer that. It might be.
There we go.
Motion.
Let's just make sure that's actually still running as well, which it is.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, when people look at it from the outside, they might see it from a bad place. That bad place it's there initially, I'm not giving you my equipment, but when it's done, it's fine, we're friends again. It's just, a lot of people don't think like, I hope a lot of the strongmen and strongmen have that competitiveness in them, because if they don't, I don't know what they're doing in the sport. It's a hobby, they're playing with it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, I don't know what you're doing. You're not working hard enough. What I do in a year, and what I give up and compromise is too important to give someone a victory at the end. I can't do it. It's too much. The training's too much, the eating, all the sacrifice on social life and in your personal life, your family life. You give up too much to just let someone win or to cheer someone on to win. It's not, I can't do it.
I have my opinion on there's a number of things within all this that people want to be viewed doing something rather than have a passion for doing it.
Yeah.
You know, the addiction is for how you're perceived rather than the accomplishment.
Yeah.
I certainly know that people that have played sport that have come in, they'll have a different animal.
Yeah.
Because you can't help it. It's the same as what I've said, and it's one of those things that you can genuinely see. You know, I've been a pretty ruthless coach and captain in the past. When you, within seconds of winning a title or a cup, you look in the changing room and you see the people that are just a little bit too satisfied. It's not like you. I've always said, celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, because it is that couple of minutes of elation that you get before you're left with another void.
Yes.
But you can see in some people, and certainly I think you can see it within the sport, that they're satisfied. And I don't think you can be, and that's no bad thing, because I think their quality of life is good.
Yeah.
And there is certainly something to be said for those people that have the hole that can never be filled.
Yeah.
Because you'll chase and you'll chase and you'll chase, but it makes you one hell of an athlete. Yeah. It makes you a savage, and as I've always said, there are a number of people that I put on the list. If the world goes dark, I want them on my team. Yeah. Yeah. Because survival won't just be about what you know. Look at me. It's about surviving. Yeah. It's about accomplishment. It's about actually ticking the boxes off.
Like, I could take that back to motorsport.
Yeah.
Last lap of a race, you sit in second place. You best believe I'm going for that last corner. Yeah, yeah. I don't care what.
Hail Mary. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter. I'm not content with second place, because it just means I've lost. Yeah. I'm dive bombing down that last corner, and if it takes us both out, so be it. The chances are he's going to break.
You can't see it, but the hairs went up. There's a reason for that, because it's one of the other bits I go into as well. When going back to motorsport, there is a difference between a racer and a driver. Yeah. And the people you turn up to see are racers. Yeah. You know, it's, you know, as I say, you can have a very steady, brilliant, technically fantastic driver, you know, but you end up with a racer. Yeah. They're the ones that make you go, post on the wall when you're a kid. Yeah.
It's that 120% driver that you dial back to 100% as opposed to the 80% driver that can never quite make it. Yeah. It's a bit different in this sport, because if you're 120%, you're going to rip your body to bits and you're going to not make it anyway, but it still stands true there, and from a mental side of it.
Well, this is what you're trying to fathom out as well. This is just part of what your journey is. You know, there is a difference in character. What I quite enjoyed is you've been fairly steady all the way through, but the one thing that's changed is you've got a bit more shark eyes about you now. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it was a genuine pleasure, because it felt like seeing a completely different person. Your demeanour at SCL was enough to say, even before the athletes meeting, you're not here to piss around anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Terry noticed it. When I was in the eliminator against Mark Jeans, I believe somebody told me that Terry said, "You seen it in my eyes, you seen that look?" And he was like, even though he's ill, 2 days of food poisoning, he's not losing that stone run. Yeah. There's some inflicts, and it's either do it or just go home. Just go home and lose it. Yeah. That's not an option. Yeah. It's just, and you have to fight, you've got to, I hate losing. I hate losing.
It's not a bad attribute to have to fall back on.
It's like you naturally you're going to lose.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's odds, but it doesn't mean you got to fucking like it.
It makes you go away and back in the gym and you fight twice as hard, so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, this is where the aversion to failure is something that is probably one of the most poisonous things going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to do that competition because it's got that in it. I'm not going to do this in life because I could have. No. I'll always remember a county cricketer, and he's a Somerset lad. He's moved on now, but at the time, a flawless season, training. Pre-season, everything brilliant. You know, it's 50 wickets a season. He'd done everything. Just by a twist of fate, that county championship slipped from their grasp on the very last day of the entire season, and it was like that. And he just posted up like an outpouring.
Yeah.
How is this fair? How is this? And I've always believed. Same as why you see like memes and quotes and all sorts of bits and pieces that failure is a precursor to success.
Mm-hmm.
Now there was something within that lad. He was a very, very talented guy. He's gone on to sort of prove it. He's had England birth since. Gone on to get a good club contract at basically like the Manchester United cricket clubs. But if I ask you from probably 3 years ago, when you were training and you're putting everything in, because you're putting everything in. Then you look back and go, well, no, I wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not until you have those failures that door opens up, and it's just a little ajar that just, I thought I reached the end.
Yeah.
And there's just, you've got to have the curiosity, or if failure hurts you so bad, fuck it, I'm going through. And then you go into another room with all these other things that you should have done or haven't done, and it comes down to accountability, it comes down to admission, and it comes down to further sacrifice. Because it's amazing when you get a few years deep, you can suddenly find 10 things that prior to a competition or prior to a moment, you didn't even think were necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yet all of a sudden, if you're prepared to do it, you shine a big light on it and say, I've got loads more in me.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, that's one of the sort of things that you can see how your attitude has changed.
Yeah.
There's always more, and you've allowed those things to shape you.
Yeah. I think it's a big thing in the novice part of this sport. It was the first time I noticed it, so when I did my novice year, I was never off the podium until I did my last competition at Strongman novice.
Yeah.
Down in, where was it? Somewhere down
Dunmo.
Yes, Dunmo.
Yeah,
So
so
I placed 5th there.
Yeah.
That was my first time off the podium, which I was fine. I took it. I was like, oh yeah, it's a.
So you'd have done the year.
I was the year after, you and Gav.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I was the year after. But then from there I did an Inters comp and I won that. So I've never really been off the podium, I kept winning.
Yeah.
And it's not until I went to the Scotland's qualifier where I came 11th and people were just beating me left, right and centre. They were running rings around me at centre and I was like, I don't know how to deal with this. I was falling out with my family, I was falling out with my friends, I was screaming, shouting. I'd never been beat in this sport. I just wanted to rock up there and win again. Because why wouldn't I? I've won everything else.
Yeah.
And it was like a hit and I was like, I need to go away and I need to get so much better than I thought I did. And I think a lot of people in the novice side of this sport, they get their few trophies and they go, right, I'm Surrey's strongest man, or I'm whatever, Dundee's strongest man. And they get quite a hype off that, but it doesn't say novice. It just goes, to anyone else, they just go, yeah, I'm Dundee's strongest man. Yeah. That's cool. They've got a trophy for the cabinets, they go, I'm a strong man. They never step up because they don't want to lose.
No.
And it's, you need to, because like you said, it unlocks something in your head, it unlocks all these visions of where you actually need to be. And it doesn't actually end up where you need to be because there's another step after that, another step after that.
Well, I'm of the opinion because I've never said I've competed in it, I've trained it. Yeah. I'm not a strong man. Yeah. I'm just not. Yeah. I still don't think we should hand out trophies in novice competitions.
I have that sort of.
I think you participate.
Method.
You do it. You get a pat on the back, and you know the guy who's done the best.
Yeah.
You know, well done, shake of the hand.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't give them a trophy.
I would agree. But I think I was on two sides because I was on the side where I did like getting trophies. It felt like an accomplishment and it did make me feel good inside. But on the other side, I seen a lot of people that held back from progressing because they were content with that.
The bit we'll go through is that the first comp I ever did, tore my bicep, very first event, hung in, Luckily, I had a brilliant referee, Bill Pittock, of that old school nature. You know, I am by far and away like knocking 40, the oldest man there and a novice. And he just goes, "You've just torn your bicep." And it's like, what? It's up here. Right, okay. Pull my elbow sleeve over it, just take the thing down. I finish, and I finish fourth. It was not until the very end, the tyre flip, and I'm trying to do it with one arm and a shoulder. It runs off and it takes the whole thing off. Now it's up here. Had I have, because it was a monster of a guy that was in there, Steve Mann, he's still a mate to this day, 6'8", 6'9". But legitimately on the day, first or second for me. Do you know what I'd have done? Because I knew nothing, never trained it, just wanted to, rather than be a strong boy at the gym, I wanted something to do, again to have some competition. I'd take him a little rosette or whatever they were handing out on the day, I'd go home and probably just went,
cool.
That's fun. Standing there in fourth, watching 3 people celebrate, me knowing that I was fucking stronger than them, burnt a hole in my soul, and 9 weeks there with my body power, and then it changed everything. And I think that whole thing of just seeing something, handing satisfaction to someone for what is essentially, when you start out, we're mediocre. We're shit. In some instances, good, be shit. I've not really appreciated it until more recent times for such a long period of time out of sport as a general, let alone doing anything like this. Because I think I've gained more insight, because being shit is hard. It really is. If you're shit at something, it's really hard. Whereas I look at the transition from a sport, okay, I had a little blip, but transitioning sport to another, you're on an upward curve. Do you know what? Getting stronger was pretty fucking easy. Because I had so much momentum. I had so much encouragement, and I had one thing after another. It's like, well, okay, you finish 7th, 3rd, 2nd, win, next category, podium, Masters, boom, win, back-to-back cup, and you're looking for challenge. The moment that's gone, and your work rate is taken away from it, and you're just in there having to fathom shit out again. And this is what you get from a pool of probably the masses that are involved in this. Everyone expects it to be what they see 5 people do. And the truth is, no. But there's far more to be gleaned from being shit to start with that sets you up. And I think the exposure to it, and actually just acknowledges it. Do you know what? If you can't get satisfaction from your effort, don't ever think that there you go, there's your plastic trophy, that's going to fill that void. Because you'll achieve fuck all. Actually going back to brass tacks and just learning to fight. Because you'll really find out, you know, if you go through that process, you tear her out, you go through a stone run, lose by a point, yet there's 3 of you at the end, there's no trophies, but you've shared an experience, and you know in your heart of hearts whether you could have done better. That is going to be what determines whether you turn up, not standing there with this and muddying the pool.
It brings back, well, it's the kind of like UK's was not this year, but last year I got food poisoning. I knew I could have podiumed that year. And I said, I walked away from the competition, I was going, I could have podiumed. But then I was like, do you know what, what's the point in just saying I could have podiumed? Don't be that guy. Get to work and prove it the next year. And I did, I managed to get second.
There's another door that opened.
Without
shitting yourself.
If I walked in and came 4th, even 3rd and got the podium, that hunger wouldn't have been there to sort of better it. I wouldn't be able to, because I wanted it and I was all it. But it would have felt like an achievement. And it felt like a big ass loss, sitting in the back of an ambulance going, I could have podiumed. And watching the results, watching the day continue, going, I was good enough to be that good. And it made me go away and prove it.
Well, I say, and you have.
I did.
And it's got you to this point.
And it meant a lot more a year later when I did prove it, because I went, instead of just walking away and being, I could have done this, I could have done that, I went and proved it, and I did, and it meant a lot more to me.
So obviously, Giants Live in front of a packed Glaswegian crowd, 48 hours time. With that on the horizon, and all that's happened this year, what actually stands out? What is your little moment in your head that at the moment just makes you go, that was special? Is it what's to come, or is it something that's been done? And you're allowed to pat yourself on the back because you have earned it.
I think we're in Scotland. The Scotland, the second one. I won Ultimate Scotland, that's twice I've won that one.
Yeah.
But there was always that thing over your head. We had the whole thing for this year. Andy's at Scotland's, this is the Scotland, he's the real Scotland, I'm this Scotland. And it was annoying because I was like, I need to win that one. And then in my head I was like, I want to win both of them. Because then there's no question, there's no, he's got this one, you've got that one. It's the same in England, it's the same in all these countries. You've got Paul won that one, Shane won the other one, or Paul and now it's Ryan who's got the other one. Who's the English strongest man?
Yeah.
Win them both, and there's no doubt.
Yeah.
You are Scotland's strongest man. And I'll be honest, I've probably not had enough chance to enjoy that because I had a week and I was straight out of the islands. It's like, right, you've won it, crack on, get on with work again. So I think once this is over, I'm going to try and enjoy this at the weekend. I don't think it'll be hard to enjoy it. It's going to be, I've got a lot of people there, most of the whole hostel is going to be there cheering me on and everyone else. It's going to be quite a surreal experience, and I'm just going to try and lap it up and not get overwhelmed by it. And I think it'll be easy for it to sort of take over and you'll lose the enjoyment out of it. If you put too much on yourself to perform and too much on yourself to just too much pressure on yourself, I think it'll overwhelm me a bit. Whereas I don't want it to do that. I want to enjoy it and give the best performance I can give at this moment. Like, I'm not at my best right now. I am a bit tired. I've done a lot. It's been a busy year.
Fucked, I think I'm allowed to say, because
I wasn't sure if it was
how many competitions?
This will be 15, including qualifiers and things. So it'll be 15 comps for this year.
Which for some people is probably 4 years worth of work.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it has paid off. It's got my name out there. I've got results, and I've worked hard for every single result. But it is taking its toll. I am tired. I'm not at my physical best right now. But mentally, I'm probably am at my best because of all these competitions. It's made me comp fit. I'm ready to compete. I'm getting used to all these different experiences, the people, anything that can go wrong in a competition probably has gone wrong already. So if it happens again, I know how to deal with it. It doesn't overwhelm me. It doesn't make me go, oh fuck, I'm not with this, and I'm going to mess it up. It doesn't get in my head. I'm quite chilled out with competitions now as well.
So with all those competitions, obviously you compete against a wide spectrum of people.
Mm-hmm.
Are there people that you enjoy knowing that they're going to be there? People that you look to in terms of just study? Not saying adulation or anything like that. Obviously I have my favourite. I have people that I point younger or lesser experienced people towards, because it's very easy to find like a YouTube star and just say, oh, okay, I'll follow them.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been very open about people like Ivar Smykstelis.
Yeah.
You know, it's a guy that's over a decade of hard work around a hind legs,
Yeah.
because the work defines them. And I think you know that appreciation of 15 competitions in a year.
Yeah.
These guys have been doing it for decades.
Yes. But that excites me as well, talking about Rhino, for example, or Ivers. They've done this for so long, and they're arguably the best they've ever been at 40 odd year old, 20, 30 years after competing and start training. And I'm 4 years in. So I look at that and think, I've got so far to go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm right at the start of where I'm at. And I've got to a good point now, but I'm, like I say, from like an athletic background, I'm so raw and untouched at the minute, where I've got, like, give me another 10 years in this sport, how good will I be then? And that's really quite exciting to me.
And it's a rarity, because some people are not even prepared to look a year down the line.
Yeah.
To actually have an idea of the fact that I'm looking to be professional for a decade, I think that puts you in a good standing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quick question.
Yes.
In your short time here in this sport, just one thing, if you could take your former self to the side from that first competition, just an arm around the shoulder from that first day, and you viewed that back from the man you are today, that's just about to walk in front of 10 to 15,000 people.
Yeah.
What would you say to that bloke?
Just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing. Train, and don't get worried if something gets messed up. Don't go worry if something doesn't go right, or if you're not the best, if you don't win. Just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually it comes. Eventually you do get better, it just takes time. Everyone wants everything now. They all want to be the best. They all want to be Scottish strongest man, English strongest man, British strongest man, World strongest man. Some people start strongman and go, I want to be the world's strongest man. They'll never be the world's strongest man. They'll never make it. Because it's too big a goal, it's too far away. And it's just not attainable. Whereas you set the small goals and you eventually you start ticking them off. My ultimate goal, my world's strongest man was UK's. I want to be on TV. And I was like, if I can be on TV and be the person that people watch at Christmas, that's it, that's my world, I've made it. And now, I did it in my first year of trying. It was a bit quick, but I made it in my first year. So then the goal goes, right, I've done it. What's the next goal? Well, let's try and get to Giants. Now that's finally come about, I'm now at Giants. So now it's going, Worlds is there. This Giants is the route to Worlds.
Yeah.
So start doing well at Giants and then Worlds is there. There's a route. You can do it, it's there to be walked.
Stay the course.
So just do it, just keep doing what I'm doing. Nothing needs to change. The fight's still there, the training's there, it's working, I'm getting better and better. I've never plateaued, I've never hit a wall where I've gone, I can't progress any further. So just keep doing what I'm doing and it will get better and I will get to world's strongest man. And from there we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
When it comes.
Yeah, when it comes.
Yeah.
And it will.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I think the proof of concept even in, Lawrence has always said that people need weapons in their armoury. You are addressing weaknesses.
Yeah.
The nice thing to hear is you're very open about them.
Yeah.
Which always makes it current. It always keeps it in the forefront of your mind, because if you have that predisposition to want to be better, by admitting your flaw, you bring your bottom line up in order for you to progress. Where there's so many people, I'm just going to be a deadlift, or I'm going to be a lot. But you do have some weapons, and you have one in particular. Stones have gone from good to very good.
Yeah.
Do you have favourites? Was it something that you just put more time into it, or was it because of the mentality something that was not that great at one particular point?
Yeah.
That you just go, I'm going to hammer that.
I think I was always quite good at stones. I was always a good deadlifter. Like I said, in my first competition, I pulled 300 without anything. So I was a good deadlifter, but my log was terrible. My pressing just wasn't there. So I was right, that's never going to happen again. I will never fail a log pressing that. I'm not going to do it. It was embarrassing. It really got me mentally. So I went away and I was like, right, my deadlift's good. For the level I'm at as a novice, 300 is above where I need to be. So let's take my pressing and bring it up to where it needs to be. Leave the deadlift alone. It's not going to get worse. It'll stay where it is.
Yeah.
But let's bring everything else up. Let's work on my yoke. Let's work on my pressing. Let's get better. And then when I get to Scotland's level, my deadlift needed more work. My pressing was okay. It was at that sort of level, but my deadlift needed more attention. Bring the deadlift up. And then bring everything. Just keep working on it.
Train legs, Louis. Train fucking legs.
Well, that came much. That came out a good couple of years later.
Yeah.
And then again, if we talk about stones, my stones were always good.
Yeah.
But it probably since I started gym legs, where they've got really good.
Yeah.
I don't fail stones anymore. I just pick them up and put them on wherever they need to go.
Yeah.
It's done. But my sandbags are very good. They were always good. Right from my novice year, I'd win a sandbag, a keg toss, kettlebell toss, I'd just chuck them. And that should have been 2 out of 6 wins at the Arnold's last week.
Yeah.
2 out of 6 in my first big sort of international show there.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
In that lineup, I shouldn't win 2 out of 6 events.
Especially fatigue, because you competed the week
A
before.
week before, I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
But I did. And I was very close to winning. I should have won with the sandbag. It's still bugging me. And it was just.
I think that's the thing that's going to be highlighted, and hopefully people are going to take out of this, because if you are aware of, looking at sports people over the years, no matter what their disciplines, the things that stand out is never really satisfied, which is fine, because there's an acceptance to things, but you still want more. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I always remember people saying, you don't make a rod for your own back. Well, actually, no one's gonna do this for me.
Yeah.
So I have to find my own methodology to get me to do it.
Yeah.
And if it comes from self-desire and a want, because that's a hard word to sort of articulate to people now, to actually want to do something. But you don't overcomplicate anything.
No.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's the work, it's pick it up, put it down, move that, that's it.
Yeah.
And I think that as a direction and a way to approach something just makes it easier. It certainly allows your application and effort to have a better result.
Yeah. it's
The nice thing, do you know what? It's genuinely fucking brilliant though to see that. Because you have done the work, you've earned this bit, you've earned the right to sit there and have fun, you've earned the plaudits.
Yep.
But what I love about the grounded nature of this is that it's not like there's an end.
No.
This isn't like something that's been achieved, it is just, because you fully understand, this is something that's where you can easily just taper away.
Yeah.
You have to keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that, and I've encouraged people to acknowledge it as well. This weekend coming up is special. Even I recognise that, which is why I was in your ear about stuff, because of what it will be.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be encapsulated and immortalised, and you'd earn that as the only person to do it.
Yeah. Literally
The undisputed King of Scotland, come into Glasgow crowd where all you people train.
Yeah.
You know, that's a moment. I respect and applauded the fact that it was like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to keep being match fit. I'm just going to keep going through, and it's allowed you to carry that momentum into this, knowing that it's just another step. So there's a tiny bit of you, and I do hope you get all facets of this, that you get that little moment to enjoy it, and then when they call your name out, it just goes back to business. Because I truly feel that this weekend will be something which is the end of a season, but the start of a very, very good career.
Yeah, I mean, it's in there where I've said I want to enjoy it, but there's still that other side of me. It's like the sort of angel and the devil sort of thing. There's still that bit of me that goes, there's just 10 or 11 guys, they're just people. Yeah, they're strong, yeah, they're more experienced, whatever, but I don't care. I can mix it there, I can beat them. Why not? And nobody's expecting it.
Well, you got this far.
All I can do is exceed people's expectations this weekend. And I'm looking forward to doing it. Because I'm not there just to make up numbers.
Before we wrap up, because my coffee's done,
Yeah.
and that's going to be the marker for all these now, is where the coffee goes. You're on a long list, and there's more after you, of Scottish strength athletes.
Yeah.
There's a man that's at the forefront of all this, that even for these audiences, they probably won't be completely a fame with the name, but it's worth Googling afterwards. Stuart Murray.
Yeah.
When you came into this, were you, obviously because you were fairly sort of naive to the sport as such,
Yeah.
how long before you crossed paths?
Scotland's qualifier, so it was a year and a few months into my strongman before I met Stuart. And yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm very quiet within myself, so I'm not one to sort of when approaching people. It's something I'm getting better at, but I didn't really become sort of too close with Stuart for like a wee bit, because it's in my nature just to be a bit more sit in the corner and just watch what things are going on and try and judge people from that point of view and figure people out, and then sort of jump in with people and getting about them. But I'm not one to just jump in and go, hi, this is me, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. And I'll sit and I'll watch and I'll figure out who does what do they act like, who's the big dog and who's the one sitting around, and figure everyone out. But Stuart is a gem in the sport, he really is. And especially for Strongman, he's driving it forward, and there's a lot of talent in Scotland.
Yeah, I'd say
above me and below me.
It's incredible to see what one guy is encouraged to come through. Has he
Yeah.
spoken to you after?
I spoke to him at the Arnolds. We've not spoken since the Arnolds, but I'm sure we'll catch up this weekend before it all happens.
But yeah, massive tip of the hat to Stuart Murray, who will be going under the accolade of the godfather of Scottish strength, and for very good reason. But if you get the opportunity to type away, Google Stuart Murray, a man that's competed at Worlds, but for every name that you are aware of that's come through, whether it be Louis, Scott, Andy Black, the Stompmans, and the list goes on as well, because you just go back into, further into history as well, the people that he's worked alongside, competed with and trained with. That man's attached to pretty much everything that has come through from Scotland, and it owes a debt of gratitude to a man that has literally lived passion and breathed passion into this sport.
And he's still got the best forearms in Scotland.
He still has, yeah. He's a really, he's just a really good guy. Yeah. Unheard of now, where he wants no attention.
No, it's all purely the passion for the sport and making it grow. And
But I still think he's probably one of the most influential characters in the whole of Strongman for what he's able to bring through. And as you say, you look at the depth, not only just in this, but in the weight class categories as well. The female side of the sport, we watch 2 world records fall. And it all comes under the gaze of a man that will be there cheering, holding that flag, screaming at the top of his lungs, still championing what goes on.
I was surprised about Stuart as he was at Scotland's, whatever that was, a few weeks ago. Then he was at the Arnold's, then he was at the juniors last week, and now he's here. It never stopped.
No.
He's everywhere, and it's for nothing other than make this sport better for Scotland.
He really is fabric.
He
really is. There's a lot of people that are ingrained and stitched into it, but he is definitely the fabric of the sport.
It's a long shot, but I promised to buy him and his wife a holiday if I win this weekend.
Well, you're in a position to be able to do it.
It's a long shot, but you never know.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Well, dude, it is a genuine pleasure to actually have a proper chat and get this one down. Thank you ever so much for doing something that's outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, it's alright. One of the more comfortable ones, to be honest. It's been alright.
So I'm not that scared.
No, you're alright.
On a personal note, I really, really wish you well. I normally would say something along the lines of, I hope you get the reward for your efforts. But you have. You've got the reward for efforts and stuff like that. But in the manner in which you've gone about it, the way that you've conveyed the work that's gone into it and the way that you've held yourself over the last probably 18 months especially, I do wish you luck. Because it would be nice to actually see a podium. It would be great, because it's not very often I get caught in the romanticism of it, but I was quick to identify what this is, and if there is some sort of divine force, and it gets you that opportunity, but when you walk out and they call your name, and you'll go through the run through as well, just for 30 seconds, breathe that in. Because you'll never get that back.
No, I fully intend to.
And use that as fuel. Dude, I wish you well, have fun, and we'll speak another time. For everyone else, this is the first episode of A Real Coffee with Caveman. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got messages, please find Louis on Instagram. You can comment below as well. Like, subscribe, all that other stuff that goes along with YouTube. And we'll see you soon.
Excellent.
That was actually really fucking fun. I enjoyed that.
Sometimes.